Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
All right.
You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it. Period.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your host, Moist, trying to roll the Billions podcast. It's been an amazing journey, you guys, and I appreciate every last one of you guys for listening and tuning in on the podcast. Of course, you guys who are new listeners, and for those who are old listeners, be sure to check out all the other new episodes that I dropped and all the recent ones as well, because I feel like there's something for everybody. You feel me? And we're all on a journey, so it's always good just to go back and listen to some of those episodes. Real estate, man, you guys, I always got to give you guys a little bit of balance of life and then real estate and business and all that good stuff. But we're going to talk about real estate today, and we're going to talk about the state of the economy, right? So as we know, interest rates are dropping. At one point, interest rates were looking at around 8%, and it was keep going up, and people were like, oh, shit, this is getting bad, right? But people forgot years ago, like 2006, 2007, interest rates were like 16, 21% going like bizarre, right? And what happened was the people who had interest rates at those high times, their biggest downfall and what they could all tell you to do, what they could tell you today that they fucked up on was not buying more, right? They tell you, damn, I should have bought more real estate, not knowing that this real estate was going to go up in price and the refinance, which is the rate, we're going to go lower, which means eventually they were going to get more out their bang of the buck, for the cash out refinance. And this same situation, I compare it today. And not in the same instant, but the same opportunity that's creating itself in the chaos. And what is the chaos, you guys? The chaos is immigration and Joe Biden's administration putting together a plan to effectively battle the housing crisis in the country. So there's a lot of things that's going around. We have things that are taking place at the border, at the southern border that, that's been alarming to not only the citizens, but also the government. And it's alarming to the citizens because we don't know who's in the house. Who's in the country, who's coming in, if there's robbers, murderers, all the good stuff, all the bad stuff. I'm not saying good stuff. But we also don't know exactly about the taxes that are not being paid by a lot of these people, right? And, a lot of people feel some type of way. And when I say people, I mean the everyday working people who feel like they pay their taxes, they take care of their home, and they follow the rules. You get me? They never been in trouble or nothing like that with the law. They do what they have to do, a law-abiding citizen. They feel like their chances of owning a home if they're a renter right now, or even, the job security, isn't as secure as they thought it would be 10, 15 years ago because of the mass immigration of, other migrants from other countries to here, right? This is the land of opportunity. So a lot of people, if you guys been, watching the news and keeping up with, the whole propaganda about what's going on, they've been telling a lot of Americans that, hey, listen, we're going to put together a plan to effectively take care of this housing situation, right? So the whole plan was a part of emergency funding, and $2.7 billion of it was going to go towards security border, right? So they had a $40 billion plan from the Joe Biden. They proposed it to Congress, and it was letting them know, listen, we want to use some of this to take care of the border, right? But at the same time, they needed something to balance humanitarian concerns, which is detaining migrant children, while enforcing immigration laws. You get me? So they still thinking about how they're going to create asylum for those who get over here illegally now, because now it's just so much just to send them back to the country because they don't know where they come from. They don't speak English. And then if they do speak English, there's going to be a lot of back and forth. You get me? So by that time, a lot of people are waist deep into the country, So we have states like Texas and Florida that's catching a lot of immigration, people coming in and out. So at this point, they're like, okay, cool, you guys could stay, but now we got to figure out how we're going to keep you guys, off the streets, because it defeats the purpose of having you guys come over here. So now they have, proposed an idea where facilities will allow immigration agencies to, more easily keep track of migrants throughout the asylum process. But they could also let the shelters and everything house these people for periodic stays. But what creates the problem is that Homeless shelters are not a 24/7 thing for the same resident coming in and out, right? It's first serve, come serve. First come, first serve. So who gets there is the people who actually gets the bed. So that's another contradicting statement that they made to the government. Let them know, hey, listen, we need to be able to create a way to not only create a safe place for these immigrants, but also still keep an eye on them, right? And they created, obviously a plan to create more housing in a rental and in a rental market as far as making these communities, right? And I bring this to the attention of a lot of investors and for those who are looking to get into real estate because we have a lot of people who have some money laying around. And when I say some money, I'm talking about you might have 20, 30, 40, 50K, 100 bands extra laying around, right? And if you have 10K, still stick with me. Even if you have 5K, still stick with me. Like I got something for every tier, right? But we're gonna start off with the 5K, right? I tell people all the time, group economics is the way to like have a sustainable village. We have to rely on everybody. So if I have all the money and then I put all the money in investment, but no one's there to like really help me with the investment, who takes the loss? I do, right? But if we equally are yoked in the investment, not only we're going to put the amount of time in, but the amount of trust in, but also going to put the amount of hours in. You feel me? The due diligence is going to be very, very on point. So I recommend you get together, group of your friends, and we buy a house, right? We buy a house, and now we can also propose this to Section 8 and prepare for the amount of immigrants that are going to start coming into the country, right? And I'm not saying this in a way where, oh, you being green or you being like funny. I'm not being funny. I'm actually giving you guys opportunity and chaos. This is art of war. A lot of people are complaining about the immigration, but people aren't doing nothing to solve it, right? People are saying, okay, we have immigrants coming over here. Okay, let's solve it. Let's buy more houses because we have funds that are like BlackRock buying every goddamn thing. We have these banks that now they don't even need to buy them no more. They're giving BlackRock the money to buy it, right? So they technically giving BlackRock all the power and financial, leverage to buy anything in the goddamn country. And they're predicting, by 2030, 2040, BlackRock, if they're continuing at the pace where they're buying single family homes right now, they're going to control 60% and own 60% of the single family houses in the country. And it will make it very unaffordable for anyone to buy the house because now they're literally controlling the market. Like if you have 60% of the market, that means if you want to say, you know what, I'm gonna drive all these damn houses prices up. I'm gonna drive all the rents up. You give me $200 each. I'm just gonna monopolize this whole thing. And you might be like, damn, how could BlackRock do it? Well, they have the resources, and for two, they also have the funding for it. The resources are the ties that they have in the real estate market. People buying houses, off market deals that aren't showing up on Zillow and, all these other places, Trulia and all that good stuff. You're not finding these deals. And if you're finding these deals, what happens? They're being bought out by a quote unquote this outside investor that has all this cash. And what happens with that? BlackRock is giving investors, little small companies to go buy on their behalf because they know they can't really put their name on every damn mortgage title, right? Now that creates a problem because what does BlackRock really like? What do they really own? Like, that sound like half the damn country, if not majority of it. By the time you know it, Barack Obama mortgage is gonna go up. You get me? Like everybody mortgage going up because of BlackRock. So now what I try to tell people is it's gonna be harder to get into the circle, right? And the circle is this: having a house that you're not living in, but you're creating an asset out of it. Because you could always move in back into that house, you guys, right? That's the whole beauty of real estate. You could always use your house in multiple ways, whether it's conventional, whether it's unconventional, whether you're using it for business, whether you're using it for leisure, whether you're using it for party, whether you're using it for business. So we have a thing with real estate that you can use it for whatever, right? That's why it's so versatile. And when you're using it for business in this instance, you're able to make money from not only the situation, but also for yourself, right? Because you're not doing nothing wrong. You're just understanding that if you continue to buy a house every 2 to 3 years, you may have a house that's going to be able to take care of your whole lifestyle because that's the way the economy is moving, right? We're moving towards a more different economy if you guys peep the shift. There's a lot of paradigm shift that's taking place. Financial restraints, inflation. We have a lot of new laws about to be passed. We have, the presidential campaign races coming up real soon, 2024. That's going to create a lot of things moving forward for not only real estate, but just for the world in totality. So what I try to tell people is position yourself now. Don't be that person who has all this money in your account and you out here still doing the same shit that someone who doesn't have the money in their account are doing. I'm not saying that you can't do these same things, but what I'm saying is double check before you do these things, because you don't want to be back into a situation where you're trying to fight out now the matrix, trying to get into this bag, and you can't really get it because you kind of fucked up the first bag, right? And I don't need you guys fucking up the bag. So you come to roll the business because we're trying to get the highest amount of money out this life shit. We're not trying to live life on the edge of saying, oh, I only got $1,000 to my name, I only got 2,000, I only got 200. I don't want to hear that shit. Like, yeah, we all got sad stories, but I don't want to hear that shit because I don't want to be in that energy of feeling like that's all life has to offer. You get me? I don't want to feel like, oh, that's the most I'm gonna ever have in my account. I want to say, bro, fuck this. I got 200. I'm gonna flip this shit to 10, 20, $30,000 in the next 30 days. People might call me crazy. Other people might be like, "How? Let's get to it. How we do it?" You get me? So I look at it like that. I look at it like, how could we get better at our mindset? How could we get better at opportunity that presents itself? And in order to identify opportunity, you got to be around others who know when opportunity comes around. That's why they say your circle is so crucial, because you may not ever heard of this news if it wasn't for me, right? Your everyday circle, they're not talking about how to make this money. They're not talking about how to make 10, 20, 30, 40K a month. And if they are, I mean, you should be pushing for that. You should be pushing them right now to keep doing that. And if you haven't achieved that 10, 20, 30K a month status yet, you need to grind hard to go get it. Because there's people who, like I say all the time, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, all the way to 30 years old, who's been making this money for the last 5, 10 years, right? And some of us just came into this money. And some people have yet to ever see this type of money in their life, or even all at once in 1 month. So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you're ever grateful enough and blessed enough to come into, a certain amount of, large sums of money, and, able to keep that money coming in on a consistent basis, and even though you may have a large sum saved up, you need to reinvest that some way to get out this race, this matrix. Because eventually, as you guys can see, he even got Tyler Perry not wanting to hire no screenwriters because he found out Sora AI, some type of OpenSea, some type of text to video AI, is now able to take away literally half his production team, because he don't need any directors, he don't need any subwriters, he don't need anybody to look over his work. Now he could just literally do it directly to the machine. Of course, he'll have somebody that's looking over it, but he created a source for himself, saying, "Bro, I see where this AI shit taking me. I don't need to see any more people in my area. I'm about to start working on this now." And that's what you got to start thinking about. The same thing with real estate. I'm already seeing people move into the country. There's 2.5 million people that moved in so far. They're predicting that's going to be 11.5 by 2030. Do you know how many people that is? Do you know how many 11.5 million people by 2030 is going to be in this country? Do you know how many people that is, people? 11.5 million. You're going to start seeing people in your neighborhood you never seen before. You're like, "Bro, when did you move here?" They're like, "Bro, 3 years ago." You're like, "Damn, I've never seen you, bro." They're like, "Yeah, I moved in low key." You're like, "Man, shit crazy, man." You just, they be like, "Hey, man, welcome to the country." You just keep your day moving. You feel me? But it's gonna be a lot of movement. As you guys can see, Mercedes-Benz just unveiled a new concept that's gonna be taking place in Miami as well. A residential mixed with some type of high-tech luxury life. You get me? I say that because Miami's moving towards a futuristic Dubai-looking city feel, right? That shifts the economy in Florida. So all the other economies are going to try to chase Florida's economy, right? They may not get to Florida's rent prices and housing prices, but surely but slowly, and surely still, I'm going to say it again, slowly but surely, I mean, that's the way I'm supposed to say it, slowly but surely, it's going to catch up. And when Florida, Miami prices, Tampa prices, and all these houses start going up 6, 7, 800, $1 million in prices and range, these other houses in Houston and Texas are going to be like 600 to 700,000 now, because you already got these houses down in South Florida and down in the South that are so high up now. this other economy is trying to catch up. So what happens? The average person, you need to be able to afford that, right? And if you can't afford it, what happens? You're now forced to be a renter. So now being a renter, you have this housing crisis that pops up because you got all these vacant houses that people can't afford because the baby boomers probably died and they don't have any grandkids and so forth, or the bank foreclosed, and you know how the whole situation goes now. So all these houses are sitting on the market, butt naked without nobody to buy it. So people are now identifying these houses are now coming investors properties. Now you feel me? I'm buying this house. People are buying these houses. I'm buying these houses. I'm working with other people to buy these houses because people understand the state of emergency. That's what's going on right now. If you're able to have a piece of land because they don't create it anymore, you just created some type of generational wealth literally down the line. It doesn't matter if you have one house, two houses, three houses in your name. It doesn't matter if you have 100,000 houses in your name. You created something that no one else could take from you. You get me? Depending on how you look at it, depending on how you feel about it, you have a piece of land, you have a piece of infrastructure. And with that infrastructure, you can make so much money within the confines of those walls that you have to understand where to make this money at, right? So not only are you going to buy this real estate, but you also got to understand where you're going to be buying this real estate at. You get me? And a lot of places, they could just tell you pretty much where they're moving to, right? It's a lot of places where people just feel like these states are going to go crazy. You get me? And just to name a few, we have Denver, Colorado. We got Miami, Florida. We got Sarasota, Florida. We got Boca Raton. We got Houston, Texas. And we got California as well, you guys. This is off the top of my head. But, we have, let me see. I'm trying to Google something really quickly as well. Let me see. Just take too long. Oh, well, whatever. But, yeah, so we all talking about it, right? We all see what's going on in the economy, and we see that these places, and New York is another place as well, and we see what's going on in the economy, right? And we're just sitting back criticizing the way things are. But for those who understand money, this is the best time to open up a business, and it's the best time to buy real estate. Open a business because you can still use that in real estate, right? Let's say you open a business where you say you do interior design. You could still say you did it because you bought a house and you did the interior design on it. Those little things add up, right? When you're saying that you're an investor, now you look at the world from a bird's eye view. You don't look at it like everybody else. You're an investor. You invest. You're not a communist. You don't consume goods like everybody else. You actually deliver the goods. So now you got to think different. And the way you think different is, you can't afford it. You can't afford it. I could either be a lender or I could buy these houses and I can now give out, rent. I could just make sure you can rent this house now. So if I have 20, 30,000 and I know these people are going to need 15% of a house, down, or 10% or 5% down, I could lend this money out to them. They're going to be paying me the interest and they're going to be paying their mortgage. But hey, that's what life is, right? You want to have a house, you want to have some nice things in life. You got to make some sacrifices. And, you can make yourself a lender in that situation as well. Hard money lender to be exact. Obviously you got to have a certain type of guidelines, but you could do it. Anybody could do it. So, just to bring this to a conclusion and stuff like that, I will wish for you guys to actually, look to purchase a house. It doesn't have to be 100,000, 200. It could be as small as 70 to 80,000. Once you find these houses, let me know. I can help you guys. I can walk you through the process. I can develop the house for you, of course, and I can just show you exactly how to make money from it and make buku amount of money from it. Because I don't want you guys feeling like once you buy this house, you got to wait a certain amount of time. No, I'm a person, I don't like to sit on no type of play. You get me? I want you guys to really understand that. So when I see money is made in other people's ways, I learn it. And I learn it and I try to make money as fast as possible. I don't try to wait like a year. You know how they tell you, oh, go to school, No. If you don't need to go to school to make the same amount of money that your lawyer is making, you feel me, that a doctor is making, why do it? If you could work behind a computer and work 10 hours a month and you can make buku amount of money, why would you let society force you into something you don't want to do? I talk about this. I talk about this on The Pursuit of Happiness. Do what the fuck you want to do. And once you do what you want to do, you understand that everybody's just at the grass of social media and everything. And you could do what you want to do, you guys, but you got to put the work in. And this is one of the situations where I believe wholeheartedly that if you set yourself up now with real estate in the next 5 to 10 years, You guys will not have to worry about a single bill, about anything. And then we also have ACON talk about the same thing in Africa. You know, for those who want to take a trip to Africa, go do it. You feel me? I heard it's beautiful. I haven't been. I'm planning to go real soon. So I try to tell you guys, listen, I'm not really in the conspiracy theories, right? But what I will say is, I feel like a shift of wealth could take place, and when it does, because it will happen sooner or later, those who prepare themselves now with the foundation will be looking back like, damn, I'm glad I did that little one adjustment, that little one move, that one investment, because now it put me so up right now that I can't come down. You get me? And for those who have the money in 10 years and 5 years later, who didn't put the money in the right places, they're going to be looking at everybody else like, damn, I remember. That's how they're going to say. And I don't need you remembering. I need you creating. I need you to say, you know what? I'm going to build me a new house next week because you got the money for it. You get me? And I want everybody to be at the top of the mountains once I get there, because I'm going to get there one way or other. So I appreciate you guys for listening to Road to Business Podcast. It's been an amazing journey. Like I said, do your research on real estate. If you have any questions, DM me, send me an email, info@brightravengroup.net. And thank you guys for listening once again. Take care.